Peace, y'all. How you doing? This is Samori, Swygert signing in. I want to talk briefly about the way the United States is addressing the issue they have with foreign countries and the issue of war and terrorism. Now, what I will say is this. When you are a sovereign nation, it is your duty to protect and defend your territory, to protect your citizens, to protect your businesses or your assets and affairs, right? This is what keeps you functioning. That goes to any nation, any country, you have to protect what's yours. You look at it as if it's your family. So for everybody that's listening, think of your family as a sovereign nation, a sovereign country. It's your duty to protect it. Protect your interests. You want to make sure that your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your son, your daughter, your wife, your husband are all protected from actual threats, meaning somebody is actively breaking into your crib, guns ready, blazing. You want to be able to immediately neutralize that, put that person out of commission and stop them before they hurt you. You may also want to have a proactive stance where you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to get surveillance cameras around my house. I'm going to put up a gate around my house to keep people off my property that are not supposed to be here, that are trespassing on my property. When you come on my property, then I'm going to have to put you out of your misery. Then you have what is questionable threats. This is something that you think through your analysis, you think that there's something outside of your home, outside of your yard where you have gate around. It's outside of your yard, but you are analyzing the scene. You're looking at the climate, the temperament, the discussions, the hearsay. You're looking at all the social dynamics, and you arrive to a conclusion that certain people should be put out of their misery because you think that they are going to strike you. Now, that is a very slippery slope that I think America is going down, because we then turn from being the victims of terrorism and possible victims of terrorism to engaging in terrorism. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this. Now, you have other nations. Terrorism is very relative, depending on who's the victim and who's the purveyor. That is true talk right there. I don't care if you fall for all the rhetoric and diatribe that you hear from a lot of news commentators and pundits. Terrorism is very relative, depending on who's the purveyor and who is the victim, and who lives to tell about it. Now, when you look at a lot of nations, and as America, we're engaging in domestic protection of the country. We do that. That's all well and good. But when we get to the point where we start putting our intelligence all over the globe, and at the slightest hint of, our intelligence from thousands of miles away, they sense some type of discord, some type of discontent in this nation, in this country that's thousands of miles away. They don't like our policies, and I know they have guns. They can be a threat. They can be credible. Let's drone them. Then it becomes, who is the terrorist? This country, it's a slippery slope when you go to try and proactively, when you deal in anticipation, when you bathe in speculation of what the next man is possibly going to do based on what you think he's going to do, and you go ahead and you kill this person that hasn't done anything yet, you're just going off of what you hear. Now, flip side, this other country could be like, well, we hear that the U.S. doesn't like us. All right. We hear that the U.S. has already sent in intelligence, forms of intelligence into our country to see what we're doing. They say that they don't like us. Now, doesn't the argument sound the same on both ends? And then it's a matter of, well, who attacks who first? It's, I don't like what you're doing over here. I don't like what you're doing over here. I understand that you're making these plans and you have these feelings about me. I understand you have these feelings and these feelings towards me, and you have these plans about me. Well, I guess I must engage in some type of proactive, preemptive strike against you to neutralize what you were going to do, to thwart your plan before you thwart mine. So I'm going to drone you. I'm going to bomb you. I'm going to engage in cyber attacks on you. That right there is what we call paranoia-based terrorism that America is engaging in, that many countries are engaging in. And it's really all about power and control. And this is something that the U.S. really needs to think about when we talk about this war on terror, because as we engage on this war on terror, quote unquote, and, the sentiment and the seed has been already planted of this quote unquote extreme Islamism that is sweeping the globe, quote unquote. It builds up fear, it builds up hysteria, and it almost justifies preemptive strikes, regardless of innocent people that have nothing to do with this. Innocent, like, for instance, in America, you have people that are pro-war, anti-war, and they can live right next door to each other. But I guarantee you this much: if somebody was to send a drone strike at one house, that other house is going to get damaged. I don't care what you say. So your target could have been this anti-war guy, but you also destroyed this pro-war guy. So we have to really look at things in a very humanistic aspect. And the thing is, we're not solving terrorism by bombing countries. You cannot, let me put it to you this way. Trying to preemptively bomb and drone countries and nations into the Stone Age only creates more resentment. Understand? You cannot defeat a ideology, a belief, a philosophy, a doctrine, a dogma with militaristic might, unless you plan on committing full-scale genocide. That's the only way you're going to do it, because as you kill people, they have children, they have family members, and they're going to have resentment. They're going to think, man, the U.S. conducted this drone strike and it blew up this village that my aunt and my uncle stayed in. My nephew was there, my fiance was there, my wife was there, my husband was there, and they're going to have hatred and animosity and vile, vitriolic disposition against you. That I don't care how you try to cut it, how you try to have peaceful relations. When you start killing people indiscriminately, you say you have target guided drones attacks, but you're still, if you look at several publications in the Washington Post, the New York Times, and several other notable publications, you see that there are so many documentations of innocent people that were victimized by supposedly targeted drone strikes. So what I'm saying is, trying to kill people preemptively before they even engage you, does that make you any different from them? And you cannot change people's minds by doing that. You're only going to create more resentment and hatred by the people that survive them, that are related to them. And the only way to actually get rid of that feeling, you have to completely annihilate anybody affiliated with them, so so nobody can have that feeling harboring within their soul. You will have to completely eradicate everybody that has a relationship to them. And that's genocide. So this slippery slope that America is embarking on, we got to be very cautious that we are not actually purveying terrorism, like Martin Luther King said, purveying war. I think one of the things is we really, 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 really need to come to some real, I don't know, because the thing is, the U.S. is been entrenched in war for decades now. You know what I'm saying? Decades, with just several nations, even conflicts that, you know, you're not even aware of. You know, it's easy to talk about, like, you know, the Vietnam War, the Korean War, World War I, World War II, things of that nature. Iraq, Afghanistan. But there's so many other countries that there's stuff going on that you don't even know about. And it just makes you wonder, like, how can we even come to peaceful relationships internationally? And then you think about the like, you know, they're having like the nuclear summit now. How is the U.S. going to even plead their real case of saying, another sovereign nation, I'm going to tell you that you cannot have nuclear weapons? Another sovereign nation telling another sovereign nation, you can't have nuclear weapons, yet I can have nuclear weapons. Does that make any sense to you? And then the other thing is, when you think about it, no other nation has used an atomic nuclear bomb but the United States when we bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No other nation, but we're going around the nation telling other nations that have never used nuclear weapons that they can't have them. Yet we're the only country that has used them. So I think if America wants to redeem any type of international integrity, restore any good faith policy, start afresh, have a renaissance of peace, we really got to have a reckoning internally, politically, socially, and be really honest with our affairs before we go all across the globe conducting these drone strikes, these wars, because nothing else good is ever going to come of it. I'm just being dead serious with you on that. So that's it. I'm out. This is Samori Swygert. You hit me at Twitter at DocSwag06, DOCSWAGG06, and I am out. 3 champ. Peace.